everybody up before we vote. We need to be aware.
Okay,
After that, you do good minutes.
Okay.
You know, the minutes are a little bit more detailed.
Okay, and Kim is doing the minutes tonight because Alexa is on spring break. And then Jeff may still come in. I'll keep an eyeball on him for while we're doing this, if we want to go ahead and get started.
All right, well then we'll call this meeting to order. First order of business on it is the approval of the agenda for this meeting on March 30th, 2021. Motion to approve those this agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Suze. All right. Second order of business is the approval of the minutes from the February meeting. I've reviewed them and I motion to approve those. Do I have a second?
We do have a change in that. Jeff Jenks was listed as a guest, and he is actually the liaison from the
liaison.
City Commission, the liaison.
Correct.
So if we want to just update, and I just don't think Alexa knew that was the case. So if we just want to make sure that's updated, that'd be great. All
right. So move to update the minutes of the previous meeting to include Jeff Jenks as the liaison rather than just a participant. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Sheila. All right. Any correspondence, Tracy?
I have none.
No correspondence. Okay, it looks like first order of business this evening is the Reynold Park project update. Can you update us where things are at, Tracy?
Yes, I sure can. Right now, the City Commission is currently looking at the project again. We've had a group of concerned citizens that had asked for this, so they are looking at the project again, and they're going to decide on how to proceed. So we are just waiting to get word from them as to what their final decision is for that. So as soon as they make that, we will let residents know.
All right. Any other news beside that regarding the park at this point?
No.
All right. Any participants that would like to make any comments regarding this order of business?
I think I would like to.
All
I'm
right.
I'm Bonnie Nowakowski, and
Hi, Bonnie.
I live at 10124 Talbot. And of course, the exercise park has been of interest to me for a while. I have one issue with that particular park. I know it was chosen by Parks and Rec, Reynolds Park was, and it has been designated at this point as an intergenerational park. I think that was the idea of someone, I don't know who. And I have concerns about having fitness equipment in a park where you have many ages of kids coming to it. The equipment that the city had decided upon is really geared for anybody 14 years and up. I just don't know how you can stop a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old from playing on it. It's really not playground equipment. So whether or not integrating the equipment in another park where you have a lot of children, I'm concerned about the safety for the kids. The initial location that was discussed, I mean, that's another issue altogether. But I think it's an important thing to think about because no one, I think, wants to see anybody get hurt. And whether or not that park is the best location or the only location, I don't know who will finally make the decision on that.
Sure. And if I recall, Bonnie, those sort of echo the sentiments that you shared during the town hall meeting that we had back in 2019 regarding the park as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I do want to say, I don't know how this will be interpreted, but when you get older, sometimes you do feel as if a certain ageism is being enacted for people in your group. I've heard a number of people say, well, why do people even need exercise equipment? Why can't they, why do they have to have it? But you wouldn't say that to somebody that was much younger. You wouldn't deny it of children. And I don't know if it's just older people who are somehow pushed aside and not being regarded as needing of, well, assistance isn't the word I'm looking for, but consideration and accommodation. And I'm hoping that this is just a small thing, but the exercise equipment is just one part of many things. But I think there might be a certain ageism underlying some of this by some people. And maybe it's people who are much younger who have really not gotten to this point in their life and don't see how much different it can actually be. I know other people have points of view, so I'm not going to keep going on and on.
Thank you, Bonnie. And if I recall, that was, I think, part of the gist behind the compromise of the green space and the exercise equipment. Again, going back to that town hall meeting in the middle of 2019. Thank
Yeah.
you for your contribution. Any other contributions this evening, participants? Yes, Susan.
It might, oh, good, I took it off the speaker. Yeah, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel either. I mean, I do.
1 second, I just need your address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Susan Wright, 25113 West Roy Court in Huntington Woods.
Thank
need
you.
to zip?
Thank
You
you.
don't- We all have to zip. Okay, I'm not going to reinvent everything that Bonnie said because I think she put it beautifully. My biggest concern is safety for the two spans of the generations for a lot of reasons. Decreasing census for the aging population and the activity of the younger one. But I do have a question. May I ask what the criteria was used, or what criteria was used in selecting and looking at parks?
I'm gonna have to defer to Tracy. I believe that probably goes back to some of Mary's notes. I'm assuming back to 2018, maybe even as early as 2017, before I was on the board.
Yeah, I know there was a committee that was put together and went out to all the parks and looked at, you know, what was available at everyone regarding parking, space, that sort of thing. And I know they decided at that point that Reynolds was the ideal spot for it. And I know originally it was for that front end corner, and then it got switched because that green space was being used by soccer and other programs and stuff. So then it got moved to, I'm trying to get my north, south, east, west to the south.
It was moved to the east.
Corner, southeast corner, right? Yes,
That's my
Well-
understanding as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I just have some concerns about, yes, about Reynolds Park, the way it was, the way it is being presented. And it just seems that we have so many parks. I mean, I don't want to get into specifying which park, but we do have a lot of parks. You know, a few times I've walked by Elgin Park. Changes would need to be made, but just, we have a lot of parks. And I would hope that a committee would look at this again, taking in consideration some of the things we seniors are saying too.
All right. Thank you, Susan.
Mhm.
Any other participants? Hi, Gail.
Hi, thank you, Frank. Again, I won't repeat what others have said. I was at the meeting back in 2019 or 20, et cetera. I know that I helped the rec department get a grant for Statue Park when it was refurbished, and at the Statue Park dedication, and our president from the Association of Realtors was there. He told the city about the possibility of possibly applying to the National Association of Realtors for a multi-generational grant. So I think that may have been part of the impetus as to consider putting it in that park and trying to get the grant, but the grant didn't come through. I'm concerned about children being on the equipment and parents having to worry about them at that particular point. I know there was times in the discussion about the soccer kids and moving it to the other end of the park. I know that people want to keep many parks passive. And if I'm not mistaken, Tracy, for 2022, Elgin Park is slated for renovation as a children's park as it is, and it's old equipment. And I would say at this point in any committee going, and I'd be glad to go along with any of the other people here tonight, might be willing to serve on a committee with you guys if you wanted participants from the seniors. And it's not just senior equipment. You know, as Bonnie said, it's for 14 and, you know, and older or whatever, or handicapped, et cetera. That truly, if you turn Elgin Park, which is like the Rite Aid Park, into an equipment park over there with benches and a picnic table, it would be a perfect spot. And you wouldn't have to worry about other kids getting hurt. They wouldn't be going to that park. They happen to have, what's the one down by you, Jeff? On Peasley Park. that just got renovated last year. And so that one, is, maybe 5 blocks away from where Elgin Park is.
Right.
Elgin Park isn't getting much use now because of what it's like. I see people in there sitting, but I think it would be a great park to put the equipment in, and there's adequate enough parking around there on both sides of the street that, seniors or anybody who drives, if they're not walking there, could get to. But I really would appreciate the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee trying to keep this alive. It's not going to happen for this year, and that's understandable. We've had COVID and everything else. But if we can keep it going, it's been over a 3-year, plan trying to get this equipment into the city. It would be great if we could do something for next year.
Thank you so much, Gail. Appreciate your contribution.
I do
Anyone
need-
else?
1 second, I do need Gail's address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When folks speak, if you can give your name and address, that really helps.
I apologize, Kim. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I know where you live.
Yep, I know where you live, 25840 Concord Road.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks. All right. It looks like Sue has her hand up. I recognize Sue.
Sue Tanner, 10867 West 11 Mile.
Thank you.
My big concern is that this does not get dropped and that we do continue and find an appropriate place for the equipment. I think it's also important wherever that equipment goes, that the disabled are considered, that the equipment should be placed so that it is easy access for people with a disability or handicap or adults that have difficulties walking and getting around.
Mhm.
And the other thing is that I think it's important that the decision is not made in a vacuum, and that some type of committee be made to at least give input to whomever it is that makes the final decision, and that if the commissioners are the ones that are primarily doing this, that they have some of the seniors, even if it's just a couple, get involved for their input because they will be using it.
All right.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And it looks like, I'm just looking at my screen here. Sorry.
Claire.
Looks like we have
Claire.
Claire down there in the
Claire
corner.
has-
Hey,
yeah.
Claire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recognize Claire.
Claire Galed, 10084. I would like to suggest, I know that the commission seems to have taken this over, but as an advisory board, I think it would behoove this committee to form a subcommittee, perhaps invite a couple of interested individuals who may be in the group right here to evaluate the various parks so that the commission has a recommendation or a series of recommendations from the Rec Advisory Committee. That's the purpose of an advisory committee. And there's no reason that you have to wait on the commission. That's why we have advisory boards. So I would really, really like to suggest that the Rec Advisory Board function in that capacity. And even this evening, set up a subcommittee or a group of people willing to evaluate the various parks in town with an eye to this equipment. We don't have that many parks. It will not take people a long time. And there's some that are automatically not part of the investigation. We're not going to
Bless
do
you.
Cal Jones. We're not going to do Peasley. So there are some that you eliminate. So we're really down to maybe 6 or 7 parks. And we don't have acres and acres and acres. So it's not as if it's going to take people a really long time. And I would like to see the Rec Advisory Board function in that manner.
Thanks, Claire. To that end, and I'd have to defer to Tracy here because I know she has a fair amount of Mary's notes regarding this. Some of the points I think that were raised tonight are all very salient. And I think some of those were addressed during some of the planning formulation, both in the determination of the site as well as the determination of the compromise arrangement that happened in 2019. But I would have to defer to Tracy on that because I don't have access to those materials. But some of the points that you raised, Claire, I know that there was some involvement. I know that folks had toured the rec center. I know that there were multiple site visits that were in place. To the extent that that included other people from other advisory boards, I don't know the answer to that question, but I think Tracy probably could look to Mary's notes and probably have answers for some of those questions as well. Yes, Claire.
Well, all of that may be true. That was done a long time ago. Lots has happened since then. You have concerns now. I don't think that we necessarily have to rely on thinking from that long ago. There were some concerns at that time, and one of the reasons that they chose Reynolds was they were going to go for a grant that I told Mary we weren't eligible for, and it turned out we were not eligible for it. It's not for municipalities. And the idea was we were going to have multi-generational, we were going to go for this big grant. It didn't pan out. So that reason, which was one of the clear reasons for selecting that park, isn't there any longer. So I think that to necessarily rely on that, as opposed to we're now in 2021, kind of not ignoring the past, but starting over. You've got new people on your committee. Perhaps this is a time to go forward instead of constantly looking back.
One thing I would like to ask, and hopefully I'm not putting him on the spot, but I would like to ask Commissioner Jenks. I know that some of this is before the commission, and I don't know where the status of the project is in regard to that. Would you be able to maybe give us just a brief description of where things are at on that end? Your microphone's off.
You're muted, Jeff.
That's the best situation. One of the problems is the recreation, Parks and Rec makes the decision, the department. All they do is there's a budget arrangement here where we accept money from the men's club, we gave it back. I think it's back to us again. And but we don't normally make decisions. Everything is done by the manager and the manager's staff. As a senior, especially where we're talking now about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the city, we ought to think about equity for seniors and inclusion. And a lot of the stuff I've seen countrywide shows that you're dealing with people 40, 50 years of age and on up. And we also have to realize for a good part of the day, the park is used by very, very young children. Soccer is not normally played from 9 to 3 during the week. So we're taking a good part of the parkland and not being creative as to how we use it. I mean, as a senior, I would love to see the equipment, but I'll be damned if when they're playing soccer, I want to be anywhere near them, not because I hate soccer, but the kids don't necessarily, they don't have brakes on their feet, and I don't want to be run over and run down.
Sure. So one thing I'm kind of hearing kind of across the board is a safety concern. And I'm also hearing this is the way things were decided previously, but why, and can we reconsider some of these options? Does that summarize some of the prevailing viewpoints I'm hearing? Yes, Gail.
Yes, Jeff. The bids for the Reynolds Park were sent out. And it was the seniors who saw the bids, and they were talking about its placement and its difficulty in getting there and the safety of the kids, that many of us who are on the meeting today went to the commissioners 2 weeks ago. And we said, would you please readdress this and not be in such a rush to get the $65,000 worth of equipment, you know, because Men's Club was giving it, there was some in the budget right now, and just stick it in the ground because you've given it to us. Please have it looked at again. And so I believe that's the reason why it's been, put back to be studied again, and we just want to keep it going.
So we
We'd
want to
like
make,
to-
we want to make sure there's a momentum to this, that it hasn't been forgotten, that we haven't been fully derailed by a year of COVID and so forth and such. I see you. All right, Susan?
Well, just, yes, that the momentum is there, but that we also do it in an appropriate way for the,
Thoughtfully, yeah,
not rush into it.
all right. All right, there is definitely some stuff there to work with for sure. Yes, Tracy?
I just, I know some stuff I've turned over to Amy Sullivan, who asked me to forward some stuff that from Mary's notes and everything. And I know she's putting something together for the city commission on what's already been done on, visiting the parks, anything that has already been done for this project, so they can see kind of where that was at. So, just through the guidance of Amy, she was the one that told me that the city commission is going to make the decision on this particular project because some people are not happy with what's going on. So she is the one that, is guiding me along this to let me know that they're gonna make the decision regarding that.
And Tracy, when do you think that we could expect to hear an update on that and where the status of that is?
I would think, oh, I gotta let Jeff back in. I think probably pretty soon. And I know, like, I think Gail just mentioned, like, the bids are already out and we're already getting stuff back. So this all kind of has to be finalized on what the plan is gonna be pretty soon, so.
Would April's meeting be a realistic goal for that, or would maybe more realistic?
You know what, I hope it's realistic for April. It'd be nice to know, how to proceed and how we're gonna do all of this, so. I can check in with Amy. I don't know if at the next city commission meeting,
April 7th.
which is looks like April 6th,
Yeah.
that they would have a decision made for that. I'm not sure exactly how that process is gonna play out.
All right, thank you so much. Motion to proceed to the next order of business?
Frank, can I clarify something on the bids? They won't have the bids. That's all right. It's irrelevant that it was bid out in that location. They just won't, they'll just cancel it. They're not
Okay.
obligated to take the bid.
All right, thanks for the contribution, Claire. Yes, Bonnie?
I do have a question. What role does this committee play, this board play in what's happening?
Well, that's a good point. A lot of what we do is we have information that's presented to us by the city through the again, this, the start of this project preceded my time on the board now, so this is my third year. So we know that this has been a project that's been ongoing for some time. And typically speaking, how it usually functions is initiatives are typically brought before the board either by participant residents like yourselves, or they're brought to the board from this through the city, through the Parks and Recreation Director. And we're kind of appraised of different things. We have a voice in sort of the input on some of those things. We take citizen input, and we apply it to those things. So yeah, it really is sort of a conduit, an advisory conduit. We provide counsel to the we take information in from the residents, we take information in from the city, and we try to help make sure that all those voices have a place at the table. Really, sort of trying to meet the needs of the entirety of the community.
Well, then-
Yes, Gail.
Well, I think then that Claire's recommendation that the senior advisory committee possibly say to the commissioners via Tracy or whatever else, what about creating a subcommittee to study this with Commissioner, with Tracy, with members of your committee, with members of the community at large, to evaluate the parks so that this can continue to move on, would be a good recommendation to come from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee.
That makes sense. Tracy, is that something that we can consider in light of what response we get back from the city manager?
Yeah, I do. I've been told, I have to wait for the city manager to proceed further with what, the city commission is thinking with this project, and we can go from there. Because I know a lot of this was already all done prior to the project going through originally. So are we just doing this all over again and getting the same results, I don't know. But I'm not sure, and I've been told to wait to get the response from that and see what city commission has to say.
Is it possible? I mean, in a certain sense, I'd like to sort of see what the city manager comes back with and what those directives are. And maybe at that point, that's the time to have that conversation about a potential subcommittee if that opportunity is there. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me. We could do that then, sure. And I know, Gail, you said the senior advisory committee when you spoke, but I think you were meaning the Parks and Rec advisory, right?
I did.
I
Thank you
just
very
want to
much.
make sure
That's the
that I
Parks.
didn't miss something
Yes.
else with that, so thank you.
Kim,
Yeah.
correct my mistake. Yes.
That's
I saw the
that's
shifting
all
of
right. I
gears.
just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, so, yeah.
Yeah, I meant
right.
you, Parks and Rec members,
Thank
you know, and commissioners, the city manager, and members of the community at large. And it doesn't all have to be seniors.
Gotcha.
Right.
No.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Can I just say, it would, however, be probably a wise thing to include the senior advisory committee. After
Fair
all,
enough.
Oh,
they are a subcommittee of, in a sense, they're a subcommittee of the Parks and Rec committee and dealing mostly with those issues. You would think that committee would be engaged in this process.
Mhm.
Good thought, yeah.
Well,
Good thought, Claire.
work in conjunction. Mhm.
All right. I'm gonna try this again. Motion to proceed to the next order of business. Do I get a second?
I second.
Thanks, Sheila. All right. So just 1 second here while I muddle my way through technology. All right, Val Jones Park.
Yeah, I
Tracy.
just wanted to bring this up with the committee and stuff because thanks to Kim, she helped out the last couple weekends getting the skate park opened up. I think there was some miscommunication that happened between us and public safety, that we opened the park early and that kind of thing. And so some people had trouble getting, into the park. Last weekend, Kim, I didn't hear anything that happened. So hopefully everything kind of got straightened out, but we did.
It happened again.
It did?
I just was tired of bothering you.
Do you know what day it was by chance?
Yeah, for sure I know, because that's Saturday when I was heading home from the gym. There was
Okay.
kids out there again.
Do you know what time that was by chance?
I absolutely do.
Okay,
Yeah, I was done working out about 10:45,
okay,
and I talked to Todd Taylor, came up.
okay.
Yes, and I had a nice chat with him.
Okay, okay.
I have some good input from him on the skate park too. If you,
Oh, good, okay.
yeah, but I'll let
I
you.
saw about a dozen kids there that on Saturday as well.
Yeah,
Right.
there was a nice woman too that was getting ready. It was standing there, and I said, "Can I help you?" And she said she was going in to play hockey. I thought it was pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Here, I was so excited to say, and I think we got all the kinks worked out, but apparently not. So, but Kim, maybe we can talk separately about your conversation, or did you want to bring it up now, what you had with Officer Tyler, or?
Yeah, well, so we have some input from the kids and the parents and the police officers. I don't know how much time we have today, if we want to talk about it separate, but I could just bullet them really quick,
Yeah,
and then we can decide if we want to go into more detail at a different time.
Thanks, Kim.
So Todd thought you would appreciate this one. He thinks we should take the fence down and then there would be no problems.
he's not the first officer that has brought that to my attention, saying,
Yeah.
we don't lock other parks, why are we locking this one? Let's just open it up, so.
And I'm
Good question,
trying to
but, yeah.
flying pucks and
Yeah, I worry about that, yeah, and the 11 mile is right there, so I don't
But
know.
We need to see if they'll launch skateboard into the road, right?
Exactly, it could be.
Or hockey puck.
Bad.
yeah.
Truly.
But he said the officers are supportive of the skate park. They don't feel irritated by it. So it wasn't any effort to not unlock the park. And in fact, the officer who was supposed to unlock it drove by when I was talking to Todd, and we gave him a hard time about it. But
Okay.
but we need the other things real quick is it would be helpful to have a sign with the hours and phone numbers.
That actually, I have the sign made, it just has not made it down to the park yet. And just so everyone knows that Kim brought up the idea, so when kids do go to the park, if it is locked, I mean, luckily Kim has been by there, but that's not gonna happen all the time, that they know who to call to come and unlock it for them. And on weekends, it's, the public safety department, and then during the week and during normal business hours, when Parks and Rec has staff working, then, we open it up in the morning. So there's just been a couple of instances where it just didn't work out. So Kim brought up the idea to do that, to do a sign. So I do have the sign ready to go. It's just a matter of getting it down to the park.
Okay, and then the opening day date too, that caused some of the confusion. It was an artificial date of just April 1st. Maybe that's been history of it, but if the pickleball courts and the tennis courts and the other parks are all in use and it's beautiful weather, yeah, I think we should rethink the opening day of the skate park.
We actually did put it out on social media and on the e-blast that we did open early. So we were hoping some people would see it, but
And there was a sign. Yeah, then
Exactly.
there was a sign on the fence too that said it was open, but then
Yeah.
it was locked. So it was just causing a little bit
just kind of frustrating. It's so frustrating. I totally get that. And but we did, send out some information that the all the nets went up for the tennis courts in the same day we opened up the park. We've been getting a lot of calls from a lot of teenagers wanting the skate park open because it had been so warm. So we determined that was a good idea for them to do that.
And that point too is families use the park. So I told them we need to do a little bit of PR on behalf of the families that use it. So that, I mean, I every time I go up there, I see it's a multi-generational park. So there's people of all ages would do, it's really nice. But two more quick points is the bleachers are along the fence. They said last year they moved them over to their shady area and then it got moved back and locked to the fence. I don't know if there's any opportunity to move it back to a shaded area.
I'm not sure. I can check with Steve, but what the problem was is they were moving it to do skateboarding on.
Okay.
So we had to I think Steve had to find a place to lock it down that it would work because they were taking like the garbage containers and everything and using them to, even on the skating rink part of the park, they were putting stuff in there and using them as rails and things like that. So,
Okay.
but I can ask Steve if there's
about that because they're really doing a great job at selling everything. And there's a couple of the older teenagers that have taken leadership roles now of that park as far as, reminding people and talking to people about various behaviors. So they're really stepping up. So they wanted to be able to sit and have, snacks and lunch together on the bleachers in the shade area.
Where are the bleachers at now, Kim?
They're right along the fence line at 11 Mile, and it's super hot right there. It gets full sun right at the fence line on 11 Mile.
Okay.
And there's
Let me talk to
a mother
Steve.
and a baby sitting there the other day in this full sun. So it was, it's again, yeah.
I'll talk to Steve and see if we can put that in a different area. It just has to stay locked up somewhere so they don't with themselves. Yeah.
Okay. And then the last point really quick is we had talked about the idea of a mural in the skate bowl, and I've talked to a number of the kids about it, and they think it's a great idea. They really believe that the folks that did the graffiti wouldn't deface a nice mural in there, and they would even like to participate in it.
Right. I have been talking actually with the city manager about that, and there are some things in the works right now. So that is a possibility.
Super.
To do that, to kind of the idea of like more ownership of that park, that the artwork would kind of enhance it a little bit more for people too. So there is talk about that going on right now.
Okay, yeah, I just thank you for all your support of it. I'm going to continue to do my part. I go up there multiple times a week. It's on my way home from the gym, or I walk my dog up there. And
I did go up there the other day to take some pictures and stuff and just to check it out for myself. And two teenagers were there and they were having a blast, and they said, "Please tell me you're not against the park." And I said, "Oh, I'm not against the park." And then they asked me to watch their stuff while they went to 7-Eleven. And I said, "Well, I'm not going to do that, but thank you for asking." So anyway, it was just kind of amusing that they went right from a serious conversation to asking me to watch their stuff. But
yeah,
they were talking about how much more welcome our park is than opposed to Clawson and even Ferndale and Madison Heights and all the other places that have skate parks. They come to ours because they said it's the friendliest one and they like the people that come to our, that skate park. So, that's just wanted to kind of talk about it for a minute to see where everybody was on this. So.
Okay, yeah, I really appreciate the support of that and continue to do everything I can, but I'm encouraging the kids to take, like I said, leadership roles. It's their park. They want to do their part and they actually appreciate it. They like being,
Yeah.
part of the solution.
Absolutely.
We'll continue to do that. And I know Jeff has been up there. They've told me there's this other guy that comes out with this big hat and I'm like, I know who that is.
Yeah, these boys that I met knew of him too. So yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So thank you. And thanks for letting me speak on that. Yep.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. I see Gail's hand is raised.
Well, it didn't go down. I don't know how to, it's a new computer. I don't know how to take
Oh,
it down, but I will say
Thanks, Gail. I just
something.
want to make, okay.
Okay, I will say something. Kim, I think your idea of a mural is a great one for the park. And I don't know who did the other ones, but I know, Tracy, you've been having contests for sign design and murals. And it might be something to open up a contest for, to try to get participants to do it, either those that use it or the art students or college kids
Okay.
or parents, whatever.
Great idea.
I
just
think it
wrote
would be a
down.
great
Thank
idea.
you. I just wrote it down. Good idea. Thank you.
I don't know how I got my hand up before, but I'll try to figure out how to get it down.
All right. It looks like we're moving on to tennis and pickleball court maintenance.
The city commission accepted a bid from the Court Smiths out of Toledo to repair and recoat the tennis courts at both the Gillum Recreation Center and 11 Mile in Huntington. The courts are all going to, at 11 Mile in Huntington, the courts are all going to be lined for tennis and pickleball. So it will add on a couple more places our pickleballers can play. Susie, that was the part that I said you were going to like to hear.
Yeah.
For your husband. So,
So
and then
all the tennis courts, all of the courts will be lined for
just at
pickleball?
11 in Huntington.
Right, but
Right, at 11 in Huntington. And then the ones at the Gillum Center here are all going to be lined with tennis. And then they're going to add one pickleball court. And we're looking to do that one closest to the pool. Just, I don't know, it seemed like it made the most sense. I'm going to talk with a gentleman who's going to be doing the work and getting his input too. So the project is to be starting hopefully, and it's got to be done by June 21st. So this is going to be happening pretty soon. And I don't think that the courts are going to be shut down for very long because it's just kind of a redo of what we already have. But yeah, we're real excited about that. So yeah, Tim has already contacted the Court Smiths. I have as well. So we're just looking to get the project started. So it's very exciting because they're in pretty bad shape.
Will the downtime, will that be like advertised out through the city e-blaster and so forth?
Absolutely, we'll do that for sure. And we also already have some things planned through Parks and Rec as well. So we kind of have to work around, a few of our tennis programs that we have. The swim team using the tennis courts for, the overflow of people and that sort of thing. So we'll be looking to get, they're thinking a week is going to be the downtime. So hopefully it won't be any longer than that. But we will definitely let people know the dates and what to expect.
All right.
Yes.
Looks like there's an update regarding the memorial benches at 11 in Huntington as well.
Yeah, it's just it was something that was already supposed to be in, but, and they are 2 memorial benches for a resident who had passed away in 2019. The family has put this together. So we're just waiting in case anybody asks where the memorial benches, because now that we are getting those courts redone, doesn't make sense to put the benches in to take them right back out. So we're just going to wait to put them in after all the surfacing has been done. So those.
So it's on track, but just posted after.
Yeah, and those are the ones that are going to be at 11 in Huntington. And then the benches that are there are going to be repurposed. We think we want to have them for the ice rink during the winter time. The benches are kind of in a little bad shape, but they would work perfectly for somebody to sit and put skates on at the skate rink. And I think that would just kind of help with that little area as well. So that's the plan for that.
All right, and it looks like we have some just general departmental updates that you were going to share with us.
Oh, yeah, there's,
Oh, yeah.
we have been busy. Sorry, everybody, but you're gonna hear a whole lot right now. I'll try to make it fast. I'm gonna start with our fruit camp. Obviously, you guys know that was a program I used to run before I got the promotion to director. We have hired in Jenny Morgan, who was actually working part-time for us, who took over for Lisa Anderson as a latchkey director. So now she is doing latchkey and camps. She has an extensive background in camps. She's done sleepaway camps. She's done day camps. She's fantastic. I feel really good with her taking over because, you know, for 30 years, I've done some type of camp program. So it's part of my heart. So I love that it's going to somebody who is a total camp person. And she has done amazing things already to get things up and going. And with that, we held our lottery. I will tell you, we thought it wouldn't be as difficult as it was because we weren't able to have as many spots open, but it was really difficult. But I will say that everybody that did turn in a lottery form was able to get a session in camp. It may not have been their first, second, or third choice, but they did get something. People are thrilled that we're going to be in person. And, you know, everything's going to be under the COVID protocols, that sort of thing. So Jan and Bridget here were instrumental with helping with that lottery. It took an entire week to complete. So I just want to give a shout out to them because they did a phenomenal job with that. And then does anybody have any questions, or do you guys just want me to go through everything? Just go through everything?
Yeah, I think we can raise our hands if there's any.
Okay, perfect. The pool update, pool information is in the next Hometown Herald newsletter, and that's going to Huntington Woods Homes in mid-April. Pool pass holders will be eligible to register for swim time. We are limiting the capacity at the pool according to the guidelines that are set. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to offer lessons. There's too much of a close proximity when it comes to that. And same thing with family special events. Hurricanes and tropical storm will be running with reduced numbers and following COVID protocol. So that information again will be coming out in the Hometown Herald newsletter, and it will tell you passes. I think they go on sale. Sorry, I'm going to give you a date. Hold on. Pool passes. Okay. Maybe I'm not giving you a date. It's April. Sorry, guys, it's not standing out to me on this page. Okay. Anyway, there's going to be a website called poolisopen.com to where people will be able to reserve their swim time. And we're doing things, unfortunately, we can't do day passes this year because people do have to register ahead of time for swim. So there's a few things that we had to cut out, but we are really excited with the idea that we can open our pool with, oh, the news, Claire just said the newsletter is available now online. Claire, I had no idea, so I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. The spots will be 2 to 2.5 hours that people can reserve. We are also not going to be opening up our cafe, and there's not going to be any food allowed on the pool deck because masks are going to have to be worn, and it will hinder the mask wearing on the pool deck. So hopefully everybody will be happy that we're able to do something. It's just going to look a little different this year. So
All right.
and then right now we have a historical site scavenger hunt going on for families. I don't know if anybody's participated in it yet. It's fabulous. Colette did a ton of research on different areas. I know Claire was a big help getting some information together about some different places in Huntington Woods. It's really awesome. The men's club donated the money for the signs. It says the signs will say historic significance.
Yeah.
And if you guys want the the information, it's going on for a week, this little like scavenger hunt. So if you want the information and to participate, shoot us an email and we can send that out to you. Right now, we're also in the midst of taking applications for a full-time parks assistant. This is the person that Steve's right-hand man. On the city website is the information with the application, the job description, and all of that. We are also looking for seasonal positions for camp counselors, lifeguards, and park staff. So if anybody knows of some awesome teenagers, hopefully 18 and above, shoot them our way. The hometown
Tracy,
hero, like,
Tracy,
oh, yes.
just before you get further in the update, I did notice that Susan's hand popped up, and I want to make sure we don't get too far away from what was
Thank
the
you.
salient
Okay,
topic
Frank,
before we
sorry
go.
about that.
That's okay.
Just a quick question. I actually was going to register for that scavenger hunt, but it's on foot. However, I put in the number, the event number,
Right.
tried to register, it didn't work. But you're telling me other people are signing up, so I guess. it
Yeah,
must
people, we've
be-
got a lot of people sign up. You know what, Susan, I'll just go ahead and send you, we have your email on file here, right? Like through our recreation.
Oh, yes.
I'll send you the stuff, so you'll have that
Okay.
information, okay?
All right,
It's,
thank you.
it's so fun what's been set up. So let me write myself a note. All right, I can do that, no problem.
Thank you.
I guess as Claire said, I did not realize that the newsletter went online. Anyway, there's a lot going on, so make sure to check it out. There's lots for seniors, lots for families. 4th of July information is in there. So definitely check that out. We also hired a new communications person through, this is kind of through the city, not really department news. Jane Dixon, she comes to us from the city of Rochester, so she's going to be helping updating our website and, you know, coordinating those kind of things so we can streamline our stuff a little bit more. So we're really excited to have her on board for that. We had our daddy-daughter dance outside 2 weeks ago. The theme was up north, and it was on the tennis courts, and it was positively amazing. We had 120 people.
Very cool.
Everybody came masked, people dressed up in up north gear. Colette's friend brought his boat and a tent and kayaks for ambiance, for decoration. It was fabulous. So that was a lot of fun. Okay, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, and this we're also going to talk about at the Senior Advisory Committee, but our 60+ newsletter was slated to go out in September. Because we have so much stuff in it, it's actually being sent out now at the end of April. There's a lot of things planned for May, which is the National Older Persons Month. So we decided to do that. And Steve Shanebaum, who is an ophthalmologist in Berkeley, is already committed to the ad and to pay for the mailing. So we can expect that to go out. I don't know if you heard a lot of sirens and things today, but we had the big truck parade. And it was amazing. So many people came. It was between us and Berkeley. Colette put this together, and they went down Scotia, went by down Ludlow, Meadowcrest, across the street to Berkeley. And we had, you know, Berkeley Public Safety, the sheriff was here. We had DPW trucks, Beverly Hills trucks. It was amazing. And then we asked the kids to come dressed as superheroes, and they did. They came out in full force, and some made signs thanking the superheroes and the frontline workers and that. So it was amazing.
Tracy, just 1 second. It looks like Sheila has a comment.
Yeah, I was there. I brought my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, and it was amazing. It was
Thank you,
phenomenal
Sheila.
to be there. It was incredible. The kids were enjoying it, and all the participants, the people who came to watch, were staying 6 feet apart.
Everybody was fabulous. The masks were worn. It was, we were really.
I was really impressed by the number of trucks and the different trucks that came from all over.
Right,
And what I really liked about it, because my granddaughter was scared, she's 2,
right.
and she said, it wasn't scary afterwards.
Oh.
They didn't all go crazy with their sirens and stuff. And I'm
Right,
sorry, my dog
exactly.
is being very yippy right now. So, but I wanted to say a big shout out to the department and to Colette because it was what a
special.
nice breath of fresh air, because it got canceled because of the snow.
Right.
Right.
Had to be scheduled and everybody step up. It was.
We were so pleased when we heard the weather report because it did get canceled from February, and we said, you know, the weather will make or break or this event, and it was positively outstanding.
Yeah, I hope
Everybody
you
loved it.
continue it, because I think that, like, I enjoyed it.
I love it.
Enjoyed seeing all the people and talking to them. So.
Right. Love it. Just a couple more things, guys. I'm almost done. July 4th fireworks, there's still no decision made on it, but it's not looking likely. The rest of the events that you'll see in the newsletter are planned with COVID protocols in place. So, and actually what was nice about seeing the parade today and how good people were, it gave us more hope for our 4th of July parades, you know, being what it needs to be as well, and people being smart and, you know, masking and everything. So it was great to see that happening today. Food trucks begin on Thursday, April 8th and run the 1st and 3rd Thursday of the month through August. And those will be in the parking lot here at the rec center. And just Colette wanted me to announce that, yes, she is retiring. And there is some information in this newsletter in regards to her send off. I think July 27th at one of the concerts is her send off. But look for information there. We are going to be putting a job description together to send out soon to get her replacement. So I think I got everything, guys.
Thank you so much for the update, Tracy. It looks like Gail has a comment.
Thank you. I waited to the end, Tracy, because I didn't want to come in and ask questions on more than one thing. I figured I would save it. Back to the pool. I understand no food, whatever else you said, passes are going on sale, and there will not be daily passes. Isn't there a book or something you can buy? Sometimes the seniors don't want to buy a senior pass and yet want to go swim. And,
Right, and we talked about so many things trying to make this work for everybody this summer, and there's so many protocols that we have to follow. What we're doing is there is a senior pool membership for 60 plus. It's going to be $121, but because we have to know how many people are coming in during the times that, you know, people register for, we can't do just a drop-in pass anymore. People have to be signed up ahead of time. And so we had to do the seasonal memberships this way, hoping to goodness that it goes back to normal next year. We're hoping that this is just for this summer alone.
okay, if it doesn't, then one of the things that maybe could be considered is a pass book of so many, and you know that that person has so many passes and they can register against the pass. Like when I take a yoga class,
Okay,
I buy a 25 pass yoga pass and they know how many I've used out of 25,
okay.
and I can go online and register on it. For me to spend $120 to go
And
2
you're
or
not
3
sure how
times,
many, okay,
you know, isn't worth it, but it's worth it for me to buy a book of 10 or a book of
okay.
whatever, depending on how much they are.
All right, I'm gonna mention that to Bridget, who oversees the pools and everything, to see what her thoughts are on that, and I can get back to you to see if that's something that we're able to incorporate this year.
Tracy,
All right.
what about guest passes?
We're not doing guest passes. We're unfortunately, because we have to limit to Huntington Woods people only and give them the first dibs on, you know, a spot of being able to come to their pool, we are
Right.
eliminating guest passes.
Okay.
To that end, does that also include the babysitter pass as well?
The babysitter pass is, thank you for asking that, because that is a little different. They have to list who the specific caregiver is. So this person has to be in their household account. And the babysitter pass is $71. And when they register, that family registers for that particular time, like a particular time slot. If that babysitter is coming, that babysitter has to be on their household account.
So
they're
it can't be
like
switched
part
around
of the
and stuff.
family, but And so if it's them coming with the kids, then we'll know, but they have to be part of their
Well, that's
house.
smart too for contact tracing and stuff like that too. You need to
That's-
have some continuity.
That's one of the biggest things too, how we had to do that also, because we have to make sure if we have to, you know, somebody's get a hold of everybody if we have an outbreak or whatever, that we've got that information. So, yeah.
All right. Anything else, Tracy, or was that a wrap on the update?
Oh my gosh, I think that might be a wrap on everything.
All right. Anyone here for public participation for anything that wasn't included on the agenda? Yes, Bonnie. Your microphone's off. There we go.
Okay, there we go. I'd like to ask who's maintaining the gazebo at the Gordon Hassick Park? There, we have actually been using that all winter long. Can you believe it? In this terrible weather, just to have some socialization. I don't know who made the decision to put up the plastic all around it. It looks terrible, but it did prevent some wind from coming through. And we'd like to see, you know, continue to use that park. But I think the tables and so forth need to be pushed back in.
Okay.
Somebody can handle
That is
it.
actually our Parks Department that does that, Bonnie, so I'll mention that to Steve.
Mhm.
So you guys want the tables pushed back in?
I'm guessing there's 4 tables, I believe.
Okay,
And
Yeah.
there's only one of them that's out. They took 3 and rearranged them differently, and if they put the
Okay.
4th table back in,
okay.
you know.
Does that, pushing those back in, does that allow for social distancing enough?
I think it does because the tables are quite long and
Okay.
you can, well, there's 3 in there now. So really you're just adding one to the
Okay.
end of the other. I don't think it
Okay.
should be a problem. And
Okay.
bearing in mind, I'm not sure what the city's position is on this, but most of the people who are going to that senior park have had all their, both of their vaccines for quite a while.
Okay.
So whether we need to be fully masked with each other.
We are encouraging people to do that, just because, just in case there is somebody, because people can still, even being vaccinated, can get and give COVID. So we are recommending for everybody to still stay masked.
Well, I mean, for safety's sake, you definitely want to do that.
Right, right.
And I don't know, now we're past the winter season, thank goodness, but whoever's in charge of maintaining that whole area, you know, keeping the sidewalk shoveled and clear. I don't know why it was ignored this year, but it was. And we had quite a terrible snowstorm in February. And even though we were continuing to go there, it wasn't maintained.
Right.
And maybe because people thought nobody was going to use it and why bother?
Well, and to be honest, it hasn't been used hardly ever. So it's kind of not thought of much as like in the park rotation of, you know, maintaining and things.
Exactly.
You know, it wasn't part of it. So we've made it part of it now. And going forward, if that, you know, we continue like we have to do, it is in the rotation of things to maintain a little bit better, Bonnie.
Well, you know, since it's the one so-called senior park that we have in Huntington Woods, to have it in terrible disrepair and dirty, and it's really,
Next time, definitely
It's not so
call us
good.
and let us know, because again, it wasn't a park that was utilized very often. So, and we, very limited staff too that we have. We don't have a park assistant, and it's just Steve and Elaine, and they do a ton of work. So, you know, but if we can give them a heads up about this kind of stuff, that'd be great. Just shoot us a call and let us know.
so I'm assuming
Sure, we
somebody's
can
going to
take
pull
care of
down the plastic and get things back to rights.
I hope so. Actually, that came from the senior advisory committee wanted that plastic up. So that's where it stemmed from. And
I suggested it. I will say,
Thank
if they
you,
shrink
Gail,
wrapped
yeah.
it, you know, but, you know, Lenny donated the plastic, Lenny
okay,
Newman, and Steve, I think, or somebody put it up. And then
right.
they totally
did.
shrink wrapped it and we couldn't get in there. And then, you know, then we said we needed ventilation and they cut little holes in it. And we
Okay,
said, no, you gotta take 2 sides down so
right.
that the wind can come through and that
Okay.
there's air. And,
Gotcha.
you know, they eventually did it, but it could be coming down. But they were
Okay.
at the beginning when we suggested using the park, Steve was really good and got right on it and cleaned it up, you know, and
Good,
it just
good.
needs
Glad to
more
hear that.
maintenance because we do use it and it's on Wednesdays is typically our day.
Okay. All right,
But
so
it's-
you guys want that plastic down now? You are done with it? If I tell Steve to take it down, we're good? I
Is
know
it
it's
gonna
supposed to be
snow?
cold. Yeah, exactly. Please, no more
The day
snow.
after it's
Bonnie, I'm
taken
done
down.
with snow, yeah. I mean, if, it can come down now if everybody's fine with that. If everybody's cool with that, we'll take it down.
Why not wait till Friday? I think it's supposed to be 20 or 30 tomorrow.
You know what, then that's great, you know, then maybe we'll let it go through this week and then maybe on Monday
Right.
they can.
I'd like
they
to
can use
see
that. Yeah,
some regular maintenance. I mean, it's a pretty little building and it could really be used quite a lot more. But I
Okay.
think people don't want to go to use it because it did not look very appealing and it didn't
Okay.
look clean.
all right.
And
I've
the
jotted down
city,
some notes, so
Mhm.
I will talk to Steve about that.
Okay.
For that part.
but the city is aware that the seniors have been using it every Wednesday.
Okay,
Because I send out, and you are receiving it now also, Tracy. I send out every Saturday an email about the Sunday Zoom and the Wednesday in-person meetings. And Amy gets that, and several of you on rec get that, and all the commissioners get that. So it's not that people don't know. Everyone should know that that park is being used every Wednesday, even during the coldest of winter.
sounds good.
All right. Any other comments to that effect? All right, so the next thing we have on our agenda is plan of action for the next meeting. I know that from some of our conversations today, we're waiting for some updates from Tracy with regard to Amy and the disposition of things with Reynolds Park and the possibility of a subcommittee to speak to some of those things. Any other business that's carrying forward that I'm missing from today? Kim, maybe?
I'm scanning through my very long notes.
Thank you. At least yours are probably legible. I've been taking them as well, but they're abysmal.
Yeah, I'll have to scan through and I'll put it in the minutes if I find
you.
anything else that needs to carry forward. Yeah.
All right.
Right.
And any board member comments to close out the meeting this evening? All right. Well, I believe that is the
I do have one
end of our.
comment.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Kim.
I like your buddy in the back.
Oh, do you see him?
Yeah. I see
He just
him.
kind of like sort of sauntered in and then like made his way back there. He's like, I'm gonna hang back on the round chair and see what's happening in this room.
He's-
It doesn't matter what's
Hilarious.
happening over there.
I see now.
That
What
is-
you, all of a sudden, I'm like, what are you talking about? I see it now.
I've got
Okay.
two little ones. The
Okay.
white one is Moose, and I've got Roy. He's a little black chihuahua. He's in the other room napping out right now, but they're both like, they're all of, whopping 10 pounds,
I
but they're
love it.
great. So,
And Sheila's
uh,
got one on her shoulder now. Looks like.
Yeah.
I love it. So cute.
all
Yeah.
right.
This is Webster, 4 pounds, that's it. Oh,
Adorable. Well, I believe that's a wrap then. Motion to adjourn.
I move.
Second from Sheila. All right. Well, we'll see y'all next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
Good
tonight.
night.
Stay
Have a great
safe.
night.
Thanks.
Go
Thank
Blue.
you too, Jeff. And I look forward to hearing more about Len getting better.
I'm gonna call her right now.
All right. Tell her we
Thank
all
you.
send our regards, okay?
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.